Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We are talking today all things global supply chain and the crisis that's going on with it. Before we get into it, why don't you just go ahead and click that like button and make sure you subscribe because we're going to start doing some giveaways here probably within the next month or so. And I think we all need it because Christmas is coming, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about what the supply chain is going to do to this Christmas. Do we think this is going to get worse? What's causing it? Lots to talk and unpack here. All right, so we all know that there's a supply chain issue that's been kind of going on for the last, 19 months or so. And quite frankly, I think it's been going on even before the global health crisis. And, I think we as a country didn't really realize how sensitive our supply chain was, and I guess has been for the past 30 plus years. I think what's happening right now, whether or not it's going to get worse or whether or not it's going to get better, kind of depends on the way that you're looking at it. And we really need to make sure that we are trying to be as prepared for things before they come. And I know that with all of this supply chain issue, it is pushing inflation to record levels. And I think Christmas is going to push that inflation even harder. I know I have started to go ahead and shop for little things here and there that I can for Christmas because my kids are at that age where Christmas is still really special, and we want to make sure that we don't let anything hinder that as much as possible. And I think that it's important for people to look out for what may be ahead. Now, I know that over the course of the last 6 months, everything has skyrocketed. But one thing for sure is that freight costs, the costs of moving freight around the world, has really skyrocketed as well, which has made, it a bigger, an even bigger than issue than it might have been. So to kind of unpack how we got to this point, you'd have to go back to the March of 2020 and what was going on at that time when everything shut down. So factories shut down, people just stopped working at the ports, things just shut down. And what happened was there was a backlog. And, people didn't know what was going on at that time. They didn't know how to handle the things that were, this was all new to us as a society. We had never done anything quite like this before, shutting everything down and stopping work. And then, as things started to pick back up and people started going back to work, there was a backlog. And then to add to that backlog, consumers in America were buying things online at a record pace. So it's fascinating that we got to a point where, things stopped suddenly. And then as we started to kind of get used to the way things were moving forward in the spring and summer of 2020, we really started to just sit at home and shop on Amazon and, all those things. I know prior to prior to the March 2020 incident, there was a lot of trade issues going on between the United States and China and the talk of tariffs. And so I know that a lot of companies and businesses were front loading, trying to get some goods into the United States prior to those tariffs going into effect. So that started one part of some of the issues with shipping. And then secondly, I guess it was probably earlier this spring or maybe early summer of 2021, the Evergrande crisis in the Suez Canal happened, and there were ships that were, in queue to get through the Suez Canal, and they were waiting for weeks. And a lot of those shipping containers just didn't know what to do. They didn't know whether they should reroute. They didn't know how long that backlog was going to take. And so you have to think about every time that one of these shipping containers is on the water, they are doing the math of what's profitable and how profitable it is to either reroute or, just bail altogether. So, there are 500,000 container ships that are, or 500,000 containers that are just stuck right now on the coast of Long Beach, being ready to unload, and people are not there to unload. The chain issue is an issue where, whether it's the truck drivers, whether it's the people that are unloading the cargo, there's just like a backlog of the issue. There's a supply chain issue at every part of that process. So I will say that I do think it is important for us to go ahead and really think about what's going to happen this Christmas and prepare yourself. But in the bigger, broader scope of things, I think we really need to talk about and think about, our supply chain in general and how we are all so connected. 90% of the world's trade is, through the water, on the water. And I really think that we as a society, here in North America, we need to really think about the fact that all of our goods are coming from, overseas. And we need to think about the fact that, when the pandemic happened and we were looking for PPE gear, we were looking for, any medical supplies, ventilators, and even, quite frankly, medications. These are all things that we depended on other nations for, and I think that should have been a wake-up call for us. And here we are in another situation where, we need to realize that maybe we should really look into making things here in this country again. And I think that, as easy as it is to get kind of hooked on the cheap toys and the cheap goods and the, things that are so easily made for us in other countries at a cheaper rate, I think we really need to think about that and think about how that affects us in the long run as a country and as a society. I know that after World War II, we decided as a world to be interconnected so that we don't get in a situation again like we were in. But I do think it's important for us to think about that and to think about how we can, as a society, move forward to be able to make goods and have things made here. I hope that it will open some people's eyes to get off the easy money or the easy products and the throwaway products and the throwaway clothes and just the consumerism that happens here. I don't know. I do hope that everybody is preparing for what may come. I hope that it doesn't happen as badly as I think it might, but just keep in mind that there are a lot of things in the air that could possibly make things worse. And they could all come and be that perfect storm. And hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully we will not make that a part of our of our story here to come soon in the next few months. But there's a lot of things going on in the world economy that we really need to be aware of. And so just keep your eye out go ahead and buy the few gifts that you really want to make sure that you get for your loved ones. And I know I'm guilty of it. I have definitely shopped for last minute gifts on Amazon for, family and friends that were, you know, 3 days before Christmas because of the ease of just clicking on Amazon and it getting there and no worries. Now I feel like we need to be a month ahead. So, we're about to head into November. Go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and at least get the 2 to 3 gifts that you're really wanting to get for your loved ones. And then the rest is just a cherry on a sundae, just move on from it. And hopefully we won't, you'll just be prepared, and then maybe you'll just be able to enjoy the holidays more because you've already gotten your holiday shopping done, and you won't have to worry about anything. But I would say go ahead and buy your turkey now for Thanksgiving, because I don't know what that's going to be like. Who knows? I mean, every day is a new adventure in the American economy and the American and the world political system. But that's about all I have for today, guys. Make sure you go ahead and comment down below what kinds of things you're going to do before the holidays to make sure that you are not stressed out the last week before Christmas. And we will talk to you next time. Thanks. Bye.